everyone, it's Carolyn today, here to talk about something that many of you have asked me about. And so I thought I would do a video on it. And basically what it is honing your gifts, your intuitive gifts, the kind of the magical part of this. Well, everything's magical in this awakening journey, and this just doesn't have to do with those of us who are awakening. I believe we all have very strong intuitive gifts. It's just how aware we are of them or connected to them and the things that we do to hone them. So in the awakening, and I'll speak to this, things can become supercharged to allow us to connect even deeper. So today I'm going to talk through a process that worked for me in getting me to where I am today. So I'll also tell you a little bit about my journey, and then you can take these things and use them in the way that you want to travel your own intuitive gift journey and watch how those can open up over time. So welcome to everybody who always joins me. Thank you so much for being here. And to everybody who is new, I'm Carolyn Zaiser. I'm a channel, I'm a distance energy healer, and I'm a spiritual awakening mentor. And through my website, Purple Rain Healing, you can learn more about those services. But for those of you who are new, below in the description box, I do offer a free video on how to create flow in your body for health and wellness. It comes from my distance energy healing work and helps you along this journey. And it doesn't matter whether you're awakening or not, this still helps you create flow in your body for health and wellness. So join me in receiving more free content. So with that today, let's go ahead and get started. This is not a channel. This is me talking to you about how to actually open up your gifts, because I've never done this before. And let me start by saying I lived all but the last, literally, 3 years of my life not being connected to any of this. I was just living the typical human life. Many of you know I had always kind of thought it was interesting, all of that stuff that a whole nother group of people did, mediumship, tarot reading, healing, all that, crystals, all this stuff, all of what we talk about now, the mystical magical is what I call it. I just thought that was for other people who were gifted. I never thought of myself as that. I never thought of anybody else other than that group of people being able to be that way, and that you just came in that way. That's not true. That is not true. It's whether or not we've come through, and has to do with the awakening, because I know a lot of people who have these gifts open up and have not gone through awakening. So it's just whether, okay, so now they're showing me a picture of whether that human self is like just covering that up more strongly, or whether you're able to kind of move through that and those gifts open up. And lots of times too, we get suppressed as children when our parents were saying, oh no, that's not real, you didn't see that, that can't be, blah, 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 blah. And then mainstream society certainly doesn't encourage it. So needless to say, as we come into our adult years and then we go through the awakening, so much can change. And that is exactly what happened to me. So I won't go through my whole story, which you can find on my welcome video where I explain most of this, but I didn't have any of this that I knew of until my partner passed away, which you many are aware of the story there. And that journey sent me on a rocket ship that essentially my trajectory before that, if you're to draw a graph, was like this with respect to intuitive gifts. There wasn't anything happening at all. And then everything just shot off with his passing. And as we know in the awakening, so much changes with traumatic events as we are moved into that dark night of the soul and made very consciously aware that we have something going on that wasn't the same as what we had going on before. So my gifts began to take off, all right? Well, what does that even mean? And first of all, how did I even know? So lots of times what you'll get is a sign and a message of a particular area of intuitiveness that might be coming into your awareness as you awaken. Now, for me, it was mediumship, because Kent had passed and suddenly he was everywhere, whether it be objects showing up, formations in the sky, It goes on. And I know my angels were involved too, but needless to say, he was also talking to me. I had never had that happen before. So I started to realize I was hearing him. Now, the first thing when this happens, when you start getting information, regardless of what gift it is that you feel is opening up, what is happening to you, whether you're starting to hear, whether you're starting to see, because a lot of people will see, like energies or spirits or whatever, whether you are starting to feel, be clairsentient. There's a whole range of things. It's pretty unlimited. The first thing is don't have any fear. There's no reason to have any fear. But a lot of us go into this fear mode, particularly if it's kind of that mediumship side of things, and that can happen to us. I, on the other hand, was totally excited, feeling very adventurous in all of this. And there wasn't one time where I thought, I shouldn't be doing this, because that's going to block things. Okay. So being open to this, asking for more of this is fantastic. Okay. That's the way to go. That is the way to go. And today I am not going to talk about protecting yourself. Okay. That's a whole nother conversation. I don't subscribe to a lot of that. I believe if we ask for that and we go forward in full faith and high vibration, we're going to be fine. But I'm just going to speak to the first gift that I had, which was mediumship. Okay. So needless to say, I didn't have any fear. I was like, yes, give me more. Let's talk. Let's have a communication. So the first thing is pick that one thing. Don't put any fear to it. Put adventure, excitement into it, and start exploring. So having that conscious awareness of the thing, and I would say pick one thing to start with, and I'll speak more to that here in a second, to focus on and see that's coming into your awareness, and then start the journey. So part of the journey is, for starters, pick the one thing. What I would say to you is don't try to do mediumship, don't try to do channeling, don't try to do healing, as an example, all at the same time, all those things. Don't try to go learn like 5 modalities at the same time, all right? Pick the one thing that's in your awareness now. Now, your higher self is going to help you see the thing that is in your primary awareness. It is a gift that may be just bubbling a little bit to the surface. And when you notice that thing that happened, like maybe all of a sudden you get chills all over your whole body and you're starting to notice a pattern as to when that is. Why do I now get chills over my whole body? That's a communication, okay? That's a communication of some form for you. You may be starting to hear, all right? You may be starting to, so pull on that thread, okay? Pull on that thread of the thing that interests you and then stick with it. Because what I found in my early journey, I had 3 things going on. And then I would quit, okay? I was kind of like, I don't think that's right. Well, I had fractured energy all over the place. So what my spirit team told me one day was, through an actual reader, pick one thing and stick with it. It's important because here's the thing. It's energetics. What we do is we put energy towards something, and if we're fractured all over the place, it's not consistent, and then we pull it away, well, how does that help them connect with us and to continue to assist us in that growth? It doesn't. And so here's the thing. When you commit energy to something, then guess what? You build that energetic base. You build it stronger. And then, as you all know, it's very important to bring in your spirit team. Now, I firmly believe this is part of the process. Ask and you shall receive. So bringing in your spirit team to make that connection, to assist you in the communication, to help you understand what is happening, rather than just trying to humanly push through and do it yourself. They're there for a reason. Our angels and guides that we've not been talked about. So pull them in as you're starting to learn how to do the thing that has come into your awareness. So for me, it was mediumship, okay? I actually was drawn very heavily into this because I knew Kent was here and I thought, wow, what is going on? Well, my higher self led me to a conference of James von Prague. If many of you know who he is, I flew out to California, spent a week doing mediumship. And I remember the first day going, thinking, uh-oh, what have I gotten myself into? There are 150 people here, most who have done this before. I've never done it before. What am I doing? I'm going to have to call in deceased loved ones, spirits, do readings. Oh, yeah. But the thing is, I jumped in the deep end. I didn't know anything about mediumship. I just knew I heard Kent. but my higher self led me. So be open to those signs and messages that your higher self sends you when the thread of the thought comes in and that gift starts opening up, because then you can start moving forward in your journey. And you may get a crazy idea like, I'm flying to Encinitas, California. I'm in Iowa in the middle of winter, but I'm going to go and I'm going to take a week-long mediumship course. Are you kidding me? Yeah, no, I went. So follow the thread. Don't doubt yourself. Let it roll. So the next thing is sit with it. Understand it. Feel it. Meditate on it. Again, when I say sit with it, what I started to do was, as he passed away, I immediately started meditating again. I hadn't been meditating for 2 years at all. And before that, I had only meditated in my life probably a year and a half. But I knew what to do. And I know that I had been preparing myself for this time. So I started meditating again. This was a huge launching forward of my gifts. Now, at the time when I started meditating, I only knew I had mediumship in my awareness. I didn't know I was going to be able to channel and do healing and a few other things that I have going on as well. But that came over time. So just know that the one thing you're focusing on now will likely open up into more as you move forward, because it's about the energy you put forward. So you start dedicating yourself to this learning, you raise your vibration in that arena. And as you meditate, you continue to raise your vibration. And you're also going to get information, and you're going to be able to hone your skills more, because it's going to bring you into a space of calmness, quietness, focused effort. And because what meditation does is it carries you through your day. It keeps you from having crazy mind thoughts all the time, focusing on the past, focusing on the future, and it focuses you here more now. So, as you might know, what I'm getting to at this point is this is about dedication, all right? Now, you may say, well, your gifts opened up super fast. Well, they did, but they were just little inklings of them. And then I had to hone them, because think about it. Unless you have been born into the, I'll just call intuitive psychic gift arena, and they're just wide open, you've got to have all that heavy energy of humankind cover it up. So what the awakening will do is allow for a lot of this to come forward in many, many ways. The mere fact that you guys are getting your numbers and you see them, hello, that's your first sign that you can do more of this. You're seeing something that the average person who is unawakened does not see. So just know that you can all do this. So dedication, that's the next thing. Dedication. You must practice. You can't just flit here and there, do something one day and then wait 2 weeks and say, oh, I'm kind of interested in sitting down and seeing if my grandfather will come through again. No. Now, I would be surprised if anybody said to me that their gifts exploded open after they just dabbled in this, because it is about passion with the thing that is opening up for you and then dedicating time. So I was fortunate in that I had a clean slate, no job, and Kent had passed away. So it was just me traveling along. And I was, as we all get, very fervently focused on learning about the awakening. But I also was fervently focused on, what is this mediumship thing? And I want to do more of this. And then what began happening for me is, as I was practicing listening to him, calling him in my meditations over time, and this was about, I'm going to say, a 2-month period of time for my initial onset of all of this, where I was also very dedicated to doing this at least once or twice a day, sitting in meditation and focusing on this in between all of my learning. Guess what started to happen? I still subscribed to a newspaper at the time. I'd open up my newspaper in the morning with my coffee, and you're always glance through their obituaries. I would have people come through from the obituaries. It was primarily individuals who had passed young, and maybe in a surprising way or a shocking way. And so that was interesting, and that's a whole nother conversation. But the thing is, because I was attuned to this, I was practicing, all of a sudden, guess what? My vibe has raised. I'm an open vessel. I'm wanting to learn this. And they were showing up. And that's a whole nother conversation, like I said, on how that process unfolded. But the point is I was starting to realize I can do this. So then what I did was I kept following the thread. Again, this is all about continuing to follow the thread, not just saying, oh, this is cool, I've got mediumship, and then do nothing. That's not going to hone your gift. It's not going to bring you to the level that you want to, particularly if you're wanting to do this to share with others down the road. And you're going to know it. If you don't feel it, you don't feel it. But many of us really would like to travel this path and open up that sixth sense that we all have. So then what I did is I actually started pursuing where online can I connect with people so that I can learn more, so I can share more. So I started going out and researching. Okay, so that was another thing. Researching people who do this, how it's done. I also knew, though, okay, I'm pretty independent. I knew that, no, I have my way of doing this. I feel it. I know it. I knew that it does not have to be a recipe that somebody else tells you has to be done, but it's important to go learn from people to understand what it is that does connect with you, and you may learn some very valuable things. So that was the next phase, which was learning more about this, and that's the going out to James Van Prague's conference. That's the joining some Facebook groups. So, and to be able to practice some of this, to be able to, and I actually spent some money on some intuitive, I guess conferences, I would say, or online classes, which was very valuable to me. However, what was interesting is I would quickly realize, and you don't have to plunk a lot of change down. Don't plunk any money down for that matter. I just chose to do so because I was really wanting to learn. And during that time, I realized, wow, I wasn't that interested in finishing the course. Well, I knew I had gotten what I needed. Like my higher self was like, okay, you're done. You got what you needed. Let's move on. All right. But I was still in that realm of that gift that I was focused on. All right. And during that time, I was realizing all along, wow, I kind of feel like I already know this, because that's what will start to happen to you too. Your soul journey will start to open up to you, and you're going to be like, you'll learn something and you'll think it's shocking and surprising and amazing. And then all of a sudden you go, well, yeah, but I kind of feel like I've known that forever. That will often happen to you. So just know that that's a possibility. Here's another thing. This is probably the biggest thing. You've got to trust yourself. You've got to trust your intuition. You've got to know that you can do this too, okay? Nobody else is more special than you. You can do this too. You're that same divine spark that everyone else is. They're no better or you're no lesser than they are. It's about trusting yourself. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, to this day, and I've been doing this work, every day, probably, I'm not kidding you, on average, every single day, 7-8 hours a day. And I still to this day do this kind of, is that really accurate? Can I really do this? And it's a blip on the screen now, comes in, goes, but in the early days, it stopped me from continuing mediumship because I did stop. I quit. I had a few bumps in the road where I was bringing through full families instead of the one person, and it's kind of hilarious, but you want to try to bring through the one person for that individual, but it was hilarious. So I was like, oh, I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. And so I shut myself down. No. Don't do that, because these practice spaces are just that, practice spaces. And then you're able to hone your gifts. And the more energy you put into it, and the more you hone that and learn from it, and also, like I said, learn from others, then you're going to be in a space of being able to understand your gift, your unique gift, and hone it, like I said. So don't give up. Learning from others is critical. And again, the point is you're going to take the things you need, and then you're going to move on your way to that next plateau of learning. Now, the next piece is practice, okay? Now, a lot of us do this. We spend all this time learning, but that's the human self getting us wrapped up in, I have to be perfect. I have to have this gift perfectly honed before I would ever go out in public. Nope, that is not how it works. You got to just jump off the cliff. I jumped off the cliff in a huge, huge way. And it worked. I was a nervous wreck, yeah. But guess what? What will happen to you is your gifts will open up gradually. What is not going to happen, at least in my experience, is it all gets dumped on you at once. Like these amazing gifts all open up, and then you're bombarded and you're feeling insecure and you don't know what to do. And then that energy of all of that suffocates you. Typically what's going to happen is you're going to start out with a gift that grows over time. Mine's still growing. It's still growing, and new gifts will start to open up. And it's very gradually, it's hard to identify, but you also know it when it happens, particularly if you're sticking with the one thing. Like if in fact it's mediumship, you may be easily able now to call in people like that. Whereas before you'd have to figure out who you have in front of you. Channeling right now, well, in the early days, it was fits and starts of words and pieces of conversation, and I didn't understand it. Now I can just ask and I receive immediate. It's like having a conversation with you. And so that's what will happen is your gifts will gradually grow over time. Another example of that is in my early journey, I couldn't see. I never got visuals. And so I would say, and this is not great to do, so don't do this like I did. I would reinforce that and say, well, I can't see. My friend can see really well. She sees pictures. I can't see. That's just not my thing. It's not your thing because you're telling yourself it's not your thing. Well, I had this goal of being able to see. And over time, all of a sudden I started to notice, and I quit talking like that, quit putting that energy of I can't, right? So I noticed over time I was starting to get visuals, but I didn't get them in the way that my friend did. No wonder, right? Now I get visuals like nobody's business, and it helps tell the story of the words I'm getting and the conversation I'm having with my clients. It's just magical. And sometimes those pictures will full form, full color, full story, and it's fascinating. But my point in this is don't ever say you don't have a thing, because you do have the thing. You're only suppressing it by the energy that you're presenting to it in the words that you choose to use. Because remember, thoughts are things, all right? So you can grow anything over time that you want, but remember to watch how you speak to it, and that these gifts will open up gradually, as I mentioned. They will continue to grow over time as you put energy, effort, practice, and commitment toward it. Don't quit. Now, there may come a time where you're like, I don't like this. I don't want to keep pursuing the one thing, all right? I'm just going to keep going on the theme of mediumship. Don't do it then. That's different than thinking, I'm going to build this gift, but I'm only going to do it when I want to, all right? No, you got to have passion for what you're doing, all right? Or nothing's going to happen. If you're just doing it because you think you should, it's not going to grow into this beautiful gift. But put passion toward the thing. You'll probably have something else open up. And again, I'm not saying this is for everyone. There are a lot of people that are going through awakening. They don't want to use intuitive gifts in this way, or they're moving off into some other direction. This is for those of you who want to try to open up an intuitive gift and use it in some way for yourself or the greater good. Now, this is where I'm at. This is the last piece I'm going to talk about. And there are other pieces to this that we could go on about, but these are some of the main things I want you to know about to be able to open up and work on an intuitive gift. Your vibration matters. How you take care of yourself matters. The things you do for the person you are, the body you are, the mind you are, the soul you are, matters. It is a foundational element of being able to connect in, to be able to do it in a space that is clear, to be able to do it in a space where you're healthy and full and strong energy and power. And what I mean by keeping your vibration high is, how are you treating your body? Are you going out on, bingers at the weekend, partying till the cows come home both nights, and then you feel crummy on Sunday, and that carries into Monday and whatever? Your vibration lowers when that happens. So if you're committed to an intuitive gift and building it, change those personal habits. I'm going to tell you right now. Because the other thing that happens, which I'm not going to get into, and I just recently did a video on this with my friend Celeste, is the habits that we choose. If they are extreme, they can create holes in our auric field. They can create the opportunity for lower level energies to come in and affect us day to day. And so keep that in mind. The more you can become a healthy vessel, the more you do for yourself in honor of your body, the better off you're going to be, and the higher vibration you'll have to allow those gifts to grow. What we eat is also important. How healthy are you eating? What are you putting into your body? Are you getting exercise? Are you getting sleep? Do you see yourself as that vessel for the divine? Because that's what you are. It's all coming through you, the vessel. So mind clarity, body clarity, all of that matters. And it doesn't mean you have to go be a triathlete. But it is about balance and watching what the human self can often do to us by dragging us into bad habits. Additionally, with respect to vibration, it does matter where we spend our time, in what community we spend our time. Many of us during the awakening will find that those who we used to, hang around and be with as a group of friends no longer jive with us. And a lot of it can be the things they choose to do with their free time and how they treat themselves. And it just doesn't vibe any longer in the awakening. Many of you have found that out. So you're moving into a higher vibratory state as you are going through awakening and as you are looking to open up your intuitive gifts, continuing to raise that vibration and have the environment around you be of that vibration as well. So this is all a work in progress. These are all things that took me to where I am today, and I am continuing to grow. This is not the end all to it, and I still dedicate myself daily to my practices, to myself. So with that today, I hope these things have helped you understand what I've done and what I see as working well for someone who wants to take an intuitive gift that they see and open it up and manifest into something that you can then start to use and really count on and know how it works for you. So just know that we all have intuitive gifts. And I hope none of you look at this and say, oh, that's not for me. I don't have intuitive gifts. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Just follow some of these steps and then start focusing on the thing that you enjoy doing and call in your spirit team and do the things I've talked about here and see how it works for you over time. And don't quit. So with that today, I thank you so much for joining me. And I will remind you again of Purple Rain Healing, my website where my services are listed of distance energy healing, channeling, and spiritual awakening mentoring, where I can work with you to help you launch forward in your journey. And even if you wanted to work on something like this, opening up your intuitive gifts, I can assist you there as well. So reach out to me if you're interested. And in the meantime, I thank you so much for joining me on this journey. I will see you in the next video.